All right, guys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Blue Crocus Experience. Super excited about this one. It is another fellow junk removal owner. I had Paul Watsano on there last week. Excited to chat with Nathan Schweid today. Appreciate you jumping on, Nathan.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me, Lewis.
Yeah, awesome. So, you sent over a bit of a spark notes here, but we're going to dive in. So maybe just tell people, a bit about who you are, where you're located, and then we'll dive into, some of the nuts and bolts of the whole thing.
Sure. I'm in the Denver, Colorado market. We service many of the surrounding towns and counties. Boulder, we're up in Evergreen, probably once a week. Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, also, at least once a week. We've got a 5-truck operation right now. We've got about 18 full-time staff. We've got an in-house person that manages all of our inventory as far as, resale stuff. And then we've got a full-time GM as well who, helps make sure the trucks are in the condition they need to be, helps to make sure that our tools aren't being left at job sites. Just raises the level of accountability within the business. Got a business partner, Josh, who came on about 7 months ago. I'm not a finance guy whatsoever. I'm out in the field and out, meeting people and creating those organic leads. That's my specialty and expertise. So I really needed someone to come in and shore up the back end of the business. And he's done that big time. So, that's been a great help. But yeah, been in business for about 5-6 years. Started with my dad's Ford Ranger pickup truck while I was still in college. So, first year and a half in business, I was doing jobs 2-3 days a week in between classes at CU Boulder. And then, turn into full time and have stuck with it. Love the industry, love the space. Think there's never ending potential. The
beauty of the consumer culture works well for this industry, doesn't it?
It's the truth. We're fortunate that we didn't see, decline during, the height of COVID when lockdowns first started. So, I really think this industry is, I would never say bulletproof, but I think that it's an industry that has a lot of durability amongst some pretty crazy circumstances.
Yeah, no, for sure. So there's a lot to dive into that, that intro there. So I appreciate you laying that out. So, I mean, I obviously like to talk about the organic side of things because I see a lot of people in the groups, and they're just like sitting on their thumbs and be like, I don't know what to do. It's a slow season. What do I do? So I would really like to give back to people. And if you're listening and watching live, guys, drop questions in the comments. We can see those as they come through, and I'll put them up on screen and get Nathan to answer them because you've got Nathan live here. So let's go back to you're in college. What made you get into junk? What were you studying, I guess, and was there any sort of connection?
Sure. I think I've got a story that a lot of people can probably relate to in this industry. You hear so many people that have a pickup truck and they're asking, hey, I want to make this full-time gig. How do I do it? We hear that all the time, right? I guess what really got me into it was desperation. A bunch of my friends were going on a trip for graduation and my parents weren't going to pay for me. So I started hustling. I went hard on Craigslist jobs, helping with moves and landscaping projects, and quickly saw that, junk removal was a space that was just, so unique and so niche that it sells itself, right? We're fortunate to be in an industry that a lot of people still don't know about. A large majority of our consumers don't know that a service like this exists, which makes it very sellable. It's a common stereotype that salespeople, they're always getting turned down. They're always hearing no's. But I think that, 5 out of 10 conversations that I have, people are asking second and third and fourth questions about our services after, I introduce myself, tell them what I do. So, it's a field that people are just fascinated by, and that's good for business. That sells. it gets the wheels turning. So, I say it all the time. We're a marketing company before a junk removal company. We want to get in front of people, and we want to be loud, and we want to be energetic about what we're doing, and how we're helping.
Yeah, that's killer. That's killer. So you paid for your trip by just jumping into junk removal?
Exactly. Yeah. Saved up the cash, went on a couple-week trip and then got back, and I was like, I'm going to stick with this. School was never for me. I think I said it. I studied political science. I never did well in school. Really bad student. Was always a pain with, between my parents and pushing me. And it was just never for me. But I knew I had, the side of me that was passionate and energetic and liked, being in front of people, and, just having dialogue. And this has been a way that's brought out my skill set.
That's killer. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot, the marketing side, obviously, I'm really passionate about that. It's something that we went hard on when we first got going in our business. I do marketing, have been doing that for 3 years. And then we started a junk removal business last May. So it's coming up on a year. And that's something we hit really hard and, scaled decently fast for our area. So let's get right to the good stuff, because that's what everyone's here for. Is what are some of the things that you did when you got going?
Sure.
And then we'll probably scale into as you grew the company too.
Sure. Yeah. When I got going to stay busy, the repeat customers in this industry, it still fascinates me to this day. Once they use you, even if at first they're a little bit questioning, hey, am I really going to spend, $300, $400, or $500, to get someone to come do this for me? Like, it seems kind of, peculiar, right? But what has been shown very quickly is that, once people see how luxurious the service can be, they latch on to that, and they're like, hey, why would I think twice about this when I can, I have that disposable income. Let's get rid of this stuff. Let's make my wife's life easier. Let's save ourselves the crappy interactions with our significant others or family members, and just get this taken care of if you can afford it. Yeah.
Well, and there's an element too of, like, I used to work at a job where, I had access to a van and a trailer, right? And so it was like, all right, well, I'm going to take the van home, and do the bit of work around the house. But a lot of people don't have that. And so to go out and rent a U-Haul, rent a trailer, it's like a whole day thing to do, like an hour's worth of work, right?
Exactly.
And
exactly. Yeah.
You want your weekend going.
Right. Yeah. We break that down to customers. We break down the DIY avenue and what it entails for them. And we're fully transparent. We're going to say, yeah, it might be 30, 50, $75 less for you to do it this way. But one, you're going to be the one doing it. So you're going to be walking up those flight of stairs. You're going to be the one, taking the time and energy to rent the vehicle. So we push that pretty hard, especially with, our repeat customers. We've got a good commercial base of business that, keeps us pretty steady in the spring and summer. So that is something that, at the outset, I was pretty tedious about. I went hard trying to acquire commercial accounts, because I knew that spring, I had a pretty good sense of the industry, that spring and summer were always going to be busier, with the residential side. But I wanted to make sure that we, could keep crews busy, in December, January, February, and having, a commercial, side of the business, that portfolio is huge. And to start that initially, honestly, I drove around neighborhoods. I found vans outside of residential homes in the neighborhoods that I wanted to be doing business in. Houses that I knew could more than likely afford our services, and I would go introduce myself to the contractors and have those conversations. And surely you hear no, but as I said, I honestly think 5 to 10 interactions, which is like an astonishing number in sales in general. People are asking follow-up, questions, trying to learn more about what you're doing. And that builds confidence in the person selling, right? Like that's half the battle in sales is just overcoming, hearing the word no and having some sort of interactions, even if people aren't committing to a sale.
Yeah. No, that's killer. So you went around to the neighborhoods, talked to the contractors. What would you say is like what were some of the first commercial accounts that you get? Because I definitely agree. Commercial is where it's at. It's better money. Well, it not necessarily better money, but you can get some bigger jobs and you can get some more recurring jobs for sure once someone latches onto you.
Exactly. The reoccurring piece of it has been the biggest. It allows us to forecast a little bit better. It allows us to see, okay, this person's making up what percentage of my revenue, okay, are they making up too much, of our revenue monthly? Do we need to go find, new customers to kind of balance that out? It allows you to project the growth, really nicely. You see a lot of people in these groups talk about, oh, they hate doing work for contractors. They're cheap. They don't want to pay. Everyone's going to have that. I think there are a lot of those types of individuals in the contracting space, but for every one of those people, there's also people that see the value. So many contractors haul around a trailer. We have commercial customers who have done that, and then they started using our service, and they just have stopped using their trailers to haul around their trash from their bathroom and kitchen remodels. They use us exclusively now because it saves them such a hassle. They got to park the trailer somewhere. It's a mom and pop contracting company, but they value their time and their money, and they're charging what they need to make up for those expenses. So it works out for more of these contractors than I think people give credit to.
Yeah, and there's the element too of the fact that they've got to shut down an hour before. If they're working till 5, they've got to shut down an hour before, because at least around here the dumps close at 5, right? So you've got to get out. So you're taking away some of that pain for them, so they can work right till the end, get right back in on the job. Otherwise, they're taking valuable work time out, just run into the dump.
Exactly. Yeah,
and that can be a while.
And I will say it takes contractors longer to realize and have that like aha moment than it does, a residential client. But just being relatable to these people and being honest with them is going to get you, to where you want to be, and not getting discouraged. That's it too, right? Because it's all about how many people you come across. You can't let that first 2-3 people, slow you down.
Yeah, no, for sure. What other marketing avenues do you guys use? Obviously, it was pretty boots on the ground at the beginning. What did you use as you grew, and what are some of your favorite methods?
Yeah, we're very active in the community. We spend a lot of time and energy working with nonprofit avenues. So whether it be like a Goodwill or an ARC, or other local establishments that we've forged relationships with, and how often do we get asked to do free work? All the time, right? People ask all the time. Rather than us immediately turning those opportunities down, we dig a little bit deeper, and we see if it's going to be mutually beneficial. If we're a little slow for a day or two, and we want to keep our guys busy and engaged, we'll go take some donations to a church, or there was just some horrible fires in our area, so we organized and orchestrated a bunch of stuff to help out through that time. So we take a lot of time and energy in that stuff, because it builds our brand. We spend a lot of time networking to realtors. That's how I spend a lot of my days now, is really trying to get in touch with the right people that do a lot of volume in real estate. So those people see that on social media, right? Like, I engage with those same people on Facebook and Instagram. I tag them, I comment on their posts, and it, in turn, they see more of me. We're staying top of mind. Yeah. So I think community engagement, and then just being very present and active on social media has been a good part of our business.
Yeah. Do you spend a fair bit of time in the buy and sell groups as well locally?
I don't. I haven't taken a deep dive into those a whole lot. I think there's opportunity there for sure, and I'm not saying people shouldn't. I just haven't yet. I do spend a lot of time on Facebook. There's certain groups you find in neighborhood groups. You get in the right ones. It's a great lead gen source. So
yeah, that's huge. So what I'm hearing here, Nathan, is you're doing a lot of relationship building, which is, that's still, that's the most valuable currency. And I think a lot of guys just want to sit back and have the phones ring, but you're doing a lot of outbound building those relationships so that when the time comes, those people call you. Am I hearing that right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's, we are in the relationship business. We spend a ton of time forging and building up and maintaining these relationships with our customers. We're in real estate offices on a weekly basis, whether that be, hey, maybe one of our trucks doesn't have a 10 to 12 appointment, this day. Let's have them go pop into, the Littleton Remax office and hand out a bunch of business cards and, bring some marketing material for them. Stuff like that. We're keeping our guys busy. It's worth the investment to have our guys, pop into a real estate office for, a week or two.
That's killer. Yeah. And I think there's something to be said here. Nathan's on. I hear you've got a text notification and you're on.
Oh, no worries.
Manning the phones today. So I want to respect that. But, guys, build relationships, build relationships with the people in your community, build relationships with realtors, contractors. That kind of sums up what we just talked about. And I can attest to that. As many people as that you think have seen your posts, keep reaching out to them. There's a couple of realtors that I keep in close contact with. We're in a bit smaller market, but I'm really working to build those relationships. And one of them, has turned into a raving fan. Sent out an email to all of her realtors, in their area. Took a bunch of flyers. Another one, has referred us over to a couple of people. So there's a lot of power in relationships, and I think there's a lot of us that get into the junk business, that I've seen in the group, and you just want to see everybody kind of come to you. You want it to just happen, right? And I think there's a dependence upon lead generation sources that people have grown, or that they think that's the magic pill. But to truly dominate your market, you can't rely on Home Advisor, Angie's List, our services, because we do websites and SEO and Google Ads. You can't only rely on these things. You've got to go out and you've got to, make relationships, do all of that. So that's really cool. To, just hear that driven home. Nathan's at a place that I think all of you would want to be, right? So success leaves clues.
Sure. Yeah. And it takes time. There's been winters and ends of seasons that things have really slowed down. And, I think all entrepreneurs are guilty of, those self-fulfilling thoughts, that, okay, if you believe you're going to be slow in the winter, you're going to be slow in the winter because you're going to, be a lot less aggressive with how you schedule your guys. What I've realized is, the more ambitious we are with our scheduling, as far as which crews are working which days, so on and so forth, the more, aggressive our administrative team is out in the field to build the other side of the business that we know will lead to bookings and jobs and bigger jobs and, more online presence and so on.
Yeah, no, that's huge. What do you, speaking of online presence, what is your strategy there? How important would you say that is for someone starting out, and how has it contributed to your growth as time has gone on?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's invaluable. There's no doubt about it. I would say what I wish I would have done earlier, and I think we would be much further ahead when it comes to our Google presence, is if we were being more aggressive with obtaining Google reviews. We've really taken that seriously over the last 6 to 8 months, and have just seen, such an influx of reviews, but in turn, it's momentum. When you're seeing your reviews grow, that same, way that you want to grow, it creates great momentum, for you and your business. The calls start coming in, your guys start seeing the reviews, share the reviews with your guys. We give bonuses for each review that our guys are mentioning. And if you go to our Google page, you'll see, Google has those keywords, and it tells you how many like keyword names, like professional or cleanliness, attentive, whatever. Some of those for us is actually like names of guys of our crews.
That's killer.
Because our our guys are, providing that experience. We want those referrals. That's a huge source of our business. Yes, we want people to find us on Google, but we want neighbors talking to neighbors. We if a neighbor has a really good or a customer has a really good experience, we encourage them to post on their social medias and tag us. Those are the things that really can just produce results quickly, more than anything.
So this is a huge one here, guys. You kind of are saying it's made a difference for you guys, but I can vouch for this, having talked to many business owners on the podcast. From pressure washing to tree service to asphalt paving, reviews are huge. Can you walk through your process for getting a review? Because there's you're not just waiting for them to come in, because that you're going to get maybe 1 out of 500 if you just wait for them to come in.
Yep.
What is your process for getting them?
Sure. I'm not going to dive too deep in, but automated follow-up constantly.
Yep.
Everyone wants, 9 times out of 10, it's good-hearted people that want to leave reviews, and they're genuine about it, and they really had a great experience. And they want our guys to get that bonus that they mentioned, but life goes on. They got other things to do. So text messages, email follow-ups. I think in between the 2 weeks, or in between the time that we do a job to 2 weeks following, I think our customers are getting follow-ups 4 different times from us to help. It's an automated follow-up to ensure that they're taking a couple minutes, and we're specific in our asks. We say, hey, our crew receives a bonus if their name is mentioned, and that goes a long way, because our guy, the types of individuals that we employ are people that it's significant. Income's significant, and customers recognize that, and they want to help out. People want to do good. If you just gotta really push them and enable them to get there.
Yeah, make it easy. Do you get your guys to mention the fact that they're working to earn a 5-star review? Like, is that something you do in person as well?
Yep, exactly. So in all of our role plays that we do with our team, it's that exact thing. Hey, if you had a good experience today, it would be awesome if you could go to Google and leave our name in a review. It goes such a long way for us. And then, myself and Jesus and Josh, we all receive a small bonus when our name is mentioned. So we leave some literature with our customer, with our guys' names written down on it. And then in the automated follow-up, the crew's names are also in the automated follow-up as well. So, if you look at our last 6 months, it's, I think we've gotten over 250 Google reviews in the last 6 months with the aggressive automated follow-up.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It really has been a game changer, because it used to be a pain point for me. It used to frustrate the hell out of me. I'm like, we should have more reviews. You see your competitors. It's like, what are they doing wrong? And it was the automated follow-up. There's no doubt about it.
That's huge. Where would you, if you could break down the percentage of where leads come from, what would that be?
I think, it's hard not to look at our industry as like 2 different sects, like the commercial and then the residential sect. But I think, I would say 50% of our scheduled jobs come from word of mouth. They come from word of mouth. We've done enough to put ourselves in the right pockets with property managers and donation centers and so on and so forth, that we stay top of mind. We go by these places on a regular basis. We're not just going by once. You got to go, and you got to go. You have to remind yourself that people need our services, and they're going to need our services. You just got to be diligent, and it will transpire.
That's huge.
But yeah,
so word of mouth is a big one. And then, do you do any paid ads, or is the rest like organic? And
we do a little bit of paid ad. What are we doing right now? We're not doing anything on Yelp. We do the Google Guaranteed. We just started that, I think, like 3 months ago. It's been good. It's it's hit or miss. It's tough to say at this stage of us doing it. But Google Guaranteed has been, a good way to get some solid jobs for sure, especially in the wintertime.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, what would you say to someone? We've just gone through all this, and I want to respect your time, so we'll wrap up here soon. But what would you say to someone who is, a couple months in, they're kind of not sure where to go? What would be your thing? And I think you're probably going to pull from what we've already chatted about, but just
Sure.
help them out.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's just so easy to, and I've been guilty of this for a long time, and it's part of the reason that my growth has stunted at different phases of the business. But I would say you just got to stay at it. You got to keep going to these events and present yourself in a professional way. I am the master of seeing business slow down, and that just slows down my mindset. Like all of a sudden, like I don't want to do sales. I'm very much like if
you ride the wave.
Yeah, exactly. I see the momentum and I see us crushing it, and that makes me want to go out and meet people and build up our business. But then if we're a little slow, it's like it's the self-fulfilling prophecy that really starts to kick in.
That's
during those times. But yeah, I would say to really just do what you need to do to present yourself in a professional way. How you look, how you dress, goes a long way with building up your confidence to step into these situations when your business is a little bit slow. I would say that's a vocal point.
So you've touched on this a couple of times, subtly. Like you've talked a bit about riding the roller coaster and you kind of slowing down a little bit. And I think that's something every single business owner can relate to. If they can't, then they're either a robot or they're not honest with themselves.
Sure.
What sort of a role does personal development play for you? Whether it be mentors or books. You can see behind me, I've got a few books, and that's been massive over the past 3 years to change my mindset. But what is it for you that one gets you out of that slump, and what do you do kind of as a foundational thing to keep building?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think just sticking to the routines that I know I need to. It's as simple as eating the right things and exercising. Not over consuming anything. Just keeping those healthy habits in my day to day about what I put in my body, how much sleep I'm getting. Those sorts of things are crucial. It's a practice. You got to really take it seriously. To see the results that you want. To get that consistency. But like I would say, just those simple steps of taking better care of myself. I see a huge difference in my mindset, and then our growth when I am not taking as good a care of myself as I know that I'm capable of.
Huh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
I can relate too. That's awesome. Okay, so Devin's got a question here. He says,
"Sure.
Would you say boots on the ground is better for commercial jobs, while residential is from the online presence? Like, do you find that your online presence does help landing commercial?"
I think that boots on the ground is better for commercial. We get big jobs from people finding us online, like big companies, a commercial company, but those commercial customers that you want to be working with, and that are going to want to be using you time after time after time, they need to build up a greater level of trust than just a Google search. So that means going in on the organic level and walking into their office or cold emailing. We have a lot of success with cold emailing, and it's aggressive automated stuff. It's something that you got to stick to, and you're not all of a sudden going to see results. But for instance, we just reached out to the biggest school district in Colorado, and we're like, hey, like here's what we can offer you. And we were, it was a shot in the dark. We were not super optimistic about getting a response. Next day, the maintenance facility person reached out to us, scheduled a meeting with us, told us their upcoming needs, and that it sounds like it could turn into a huge job. So I think in those sorts of ways,
hit it from all angles.
Basically. Yeah, exactly, all angles. But yeah, I mean, if you want reoccurring commercial jobs, you got to have in-depth conversations with these people, and not just when they're finding you on Google, more often than not is what I would say.
I love that. I love that. I'm a huge proponent of Google and websites and SEO and all of that, but nothing beats the personal branding and the personal touch. That's key.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan, this is. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, like, we use all the stereotypical sales pitches. We're a small local business. We share our story, how we started with a pickup truck, and where we are now. Our community engagement. People latch on to that stuff.
Killer. Well, this has been fun. This is I love the industry. I love seeing the growth stories and seeing it happen. This guys in the group and anybody listening to this in whatever business you're in, surround yourself with people like Nathan. Because you are the result of you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with, right? And if you're just hanging out with a bunch of other people,
with that.
Yeah, if you're hanging out with a bunch of people that say, "Oh, winter is slow," winter's going to be slow. If you're hanging out with people who are crushing it, and every season is the fast season, you're going to start to see, oh, there's opportunity here. So, any last words for someone who is getting going or kind of feeling like they need to take things to the next level, Nathan?
Sure. I would say some last thoughts maybe. Don't be afraid to hire an employee and to step outside your comfort zone with hiring. Don't hire your friends. I would not recommend that. I've had some bad experiences that stunted my growth in the early phases, I would say. Find what is going to, what you can automate, just as I kind of talked about how we're finding reviews. We've gotten to the point where we can, just about automate our hiring process and onboarding process. It takes the emotional side out of it. It's so easy to, just get bogged down because you want to help people out and do people a favor, whether that be a customer, right? A customer's haggling you and trying to give them a deal, or you employing people. Try and do everything you can to eliminate your emotional attachment to the business. It's I'm not saying always. We do stuff for employees, all that kind of stuff, but you will be able to focus a lot better and spend your time a lot more wisely if you can try and automate things so that your emotions are taken out.
That's huge, yeah, and it saves you time and headache, and you have more consistent results. I love it. There's a lot of gold here, and I'm excited to watch you guys continue to grow. What are your growth goals, for the next couple of years?
Sure. Good question. We are going to, so right now, we have an office in Denver. That's like our home base. We do still service Colorado Springs and Fort Collins, which are, hour and a half away from us. We want to be, have a second home base in the Colorado Springs office and really dive into that market in the same way that we have the Denver market. So, have trucks that we park there, and, just have our own operation there. And then from there, once we have a good sense of that, we want to franchise, I think is our goal, ultimately. Cool. We'll see. It'll be a good test opening up a second operation in Colorado Springs and seeing that. The legal fees that come with franchising are vast, and I don't think we have a full understanding of it even, honestly. But I think that it's easier to franchise and scale this business in a lot of ways than it is to go do it all privately and try and manage all that. It's possible, but it's it just sounds more complex. The liability factor is just very different. And
Sure.
if you can put that liability on other people, I think is attractive.
Yeah, and then you bring the system and the processes that you've proven already. So
exactly. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, we'll have to as you guys get closer to that, we'll have to have you on again, and put the word out there for people who are tired of trying to make it work themselves. Because
Sure.
Once again, success leaves clues, and there's something to be said for that.
Yep. I'm with you.
I love it, man. Well, I appreciate having you on. I appreciate everyone who watched here and is going to watch, the replay and on the podcast. share it out with people that you think this may be beneficial to them. There's Nathan dropped some good info here, and Nathan, really appreciate you. I'll get the links from you. We'll put it in the description of the podcast stuff.
Sure.
And we'll wrap up here. But stick around. I'll chat with you a bit before we head off.
Sounds great.
All right.